Hey, what's up guys, Bryce here, and we're back at it again for another video. And this is a different type of video. This actually isn't a race, but this is my first time ever driving Sebring in iRacing, so I just thought I'd make a kind of a video of pretty much what I do to kind of learn a new track. I know this track from a settled course a little bit, but nowhere near like a competitive level to even feel comfortable doing a race yet, so this is kind of me for the first time getting to grips with the track. Now, I didn't expect this one to be as hard as it was. It is very difficult, there's so many bumps, and it's really technical, which I love, but it can be very tricky. You can see a huge snap of oversteer there, and we are in the LMP car once again. We're almost 3 weeks out from the NARL Season 3 now already, which is crazy. But we have about 22 days until that starts, so probably going to be doing LMP for maybe a week or so, just finish off this season, and then it's going to be GT3s for a while, so you can enjoy that and see that from me. But I've been enjoying the LMP2 cars quite a lot, and it definitely is cool having other GT3 cars on track. I did do a lot of Miami Speedway, that track. I just didn't do too much recording because honestly there wasn't that many people in it at all. But we're finding out now that at Sebring it is very packed. A lot of people do like this track, and it is one track to really get to grips of. As you'll see here, just how difficult it is to kind of get to grips. I was definitely missing a lot of braking points, missing a lot of apexes, and that's just all part of learning a track. So if you have any tips for me, leave them down in the description, because I definitely went wide here a lot, and with other GT3 cars obviously you're going to want to pass them as soon as you can. I did about maybe 8 laps. I did obviously more laps off camera, but I just thought I recorded, you know, these specific laps. You kind of see what that process is like for me, and I was definitely nowhere near the limit, and I was off the pace by a lot. But it just shows that, you know, for anyone out there, even if you're an alien or a really good sim racer, it does take time to get to grips with the track and kind of learn braking points, lines, and things of that nature, because it looks like I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'm about 3 seconds off the pace right now. So, and you'll see kind of little mistakes here as we approach a Porsche GT3 car. I've never driven that car. I don't even own it, but that's definitely a car that I want to drive sometime in the future. But here we missed the apex on the inside, and just being patient behind these cars as well. I'm really in no rush to get past at all, so I don't want to make any risky moves, especially since I don't really know the overtaking spots on this track or the passing spots at all. Braking at the 4 cones, but we seem to always go wide. We lock the front right tire, and we just go deep into the corner, and that corner I was having a lot of trouble with, just trying to figure out when the optimal place to brake is and not, you know, go deep into the corner. So it's really tricky, and it's also cool passing GT3 cars, knowing that I did do a lot of GT3 at Austria in IMSA. You can actually find that on my channel, and that was a ton of fun. Now, by the time this video is up, I will have my coaching video up, so I am offering free coaching. Just go on my channel, you can find that video where I kind of explain it, and make sure to check it out in the video description, and you can get some free coaching by me. So going through this right-hander here, and then we have a left, stay to the left here. I've seen a lot of people kind of go to the left and then cut back to the right, but the thing is that you have to be mindful of how far you go to the left, because I find that if you carry too much speed into the right, you're just not going to make the corner. So it's all about finding that compromise. This right-hander, it's like a huge hairpin, reminds me a tiny bit of Parabolica just from the look of it on the track map, but it is very, very tricky, and I'm not sure which lap was my fastest lap, but you'll kind of see here just how difficult it is. And again, I missed a lot of space on the inside there. Definitely don't know my way around fully yet, so here is pretty decent. Could have carried more speed here, taking way too early of an apex, because you can see this is causing me to run out wide a little bit, and I'm waiting too long to go on the gas. So it's just all these little things combined that make up a good lap time and a good rounded driver in general. And that's why it's really important to learn the track. Braking just late again, and we just run deep into the corner, just not what we want. We need to brake, and I'm not running a setup. I did run a setup after this, but for that corner there, you can brake late. You just need to figure out how you can brake late and kind of make the corner, which is the most difficult part. And we have a really quick right-hander. I do enjoy this corner a lot. It's just kind of like a bumpy corner. All the corners are bumpy, and we run wide there on the dirt, which isn't going to help us at all. This track is bumpy like Belle Isle, but I think Belle Isle is more bumpy, but I also did it in the GT3 car, so it's slower, so you kind of feel more of the bumps because you're not traveling through the track as quickly. So that was kind of that. But you can see how much the car is just bouncing around all over the place. Actually, there's 1 week after this, it's Silverstone, which is going to be an absolute blast. I love Silverstone and just love those, you know, classic tracks. This is a classic track, but it's more of a, how do I put it, not your traditional, you know, track. It's more of one that is kind of carved out of an airport, so it's going to be really difficult. And I'm not too familiar with a lot of US tracks because I spent most of my sim racing time in games like F1 and Project Cars, so mainly European tracks. Like there's this one track in Japan, or I think it's Sugo Speedway, something like that. That's a track that is an amazing track in Japan, or I think it's in Japan, which is a really awesome track that I loved. I know those tracks, but when it comes to US tracks, I never knew Road Atlanta until I played this game, or until I drove in the simulator, if you want to call it. I never knew this track. I never knew Miami. I never knew Belle Isle. All those tracks I had to learn in iRacing, which is awesome because the more tracks you know, like the back of your hand, the more you'll definitely be a better well-rounded driver. But you know, the European tracks, I know pretty much all of them, from Portimao to Spa to all those great courses that are really fun, especially Silverstone and Monza and all that stuff. But when it comes to this, I actually take more time to learn them. Really difficult. And here I felt like I kind of was taking the right lines, maybe going deep here and there, but the lap time just wasn't appearing. I was still about a couple seconds off the pace, and it's just come from carrying speed through these corners. So, you know, here I can just be carrying enough speed. I also have a really bad habit of downshifting too much. And what I mean by that is when you're mid-corner, I'll keep on downshifting to try to slow the car down, but then you end up slowing the car down too much. And the reason for that is the lower gear you're in, the more rotation you'll have. Like for instance here, but you have to be careful because then you'll lose too much speed and then you kind of have to go up through the gears again. So I feel like there, ideally you want to be in third gear, but if you drop down to second, yes, you'll get more rotation, but you're gonna have to kind of climb back up to those gears and you'll lose a lot of speed and time. Breaking down here again, you can just see we're going wide. That's not ideal, and it's so weird how kind of that piece of track kind of cuts right in and just attacks you and you have to avoid it. We pass an Audi on the left here, so let's see what we do here going down to this hairpin. Well, it's not really a hairpin, it's almost like a 90-degree right. It's straight up just a 90-degree right-hander. This time we make it, but we're just waiting too long. Just seems like we're not really going through it at the limit, obviously, which is going to take some time. But then we have another right-hander. It's weird because there's no real straights on this track that I can think of besides the front straight. That's a lie. There is straights, but some of these corners here, it's like the straights is like a left and then a right. It's kind of like a twisty section before you reach the corner, which is what makes this track unique. You know, here we'll have a straight, but then it's going to be a double left-hander to the next corner. So you'll see here we have a little straight, then it's going to be one left and then another left, and then we reach kind of the sequence of corners. And here we go deep, which isn't ideal at all. Big oversteer, went wide here once more. Again, just not really good. We want to be precise. So I don't know how long it's going to be till I can actually do a race here and feel comfortable. Maybe a few days and then I'll get the track down, then I'll feel comfortable to do a race. This corner is a pain. A lot of different lines you can take through here. It's just trying to figure out which is the fastest, obviously. And we have a Ferrari here on the left. I think we passed him very close on the left-hand side. It's always very scary passing these GT3 cars because I've been in a GT3 car situation, and sometimes you do get aggressive LMP drivers, so I try to be mindful, especially in practices. And if there is no kind of room to pass, and there is no room to pass, I think this is my fastest lap here. I don't know, but I don't have the telemetry right now. You guys can see it, the laps and everything like that, but I can't see it. But that curb on the right it's tricky. I don't really know if it's ideal or not, but I do think this is actually my quickest lap because I do remember watching it back before. So we're gonna brake super late here, and we make the corner, locked up just a tad bit, didn't use enough of the apex. And when I mean fastest lap, it's still about 3 seconds off of the pole guy. I think this was like a 148, and pole, or kind of top of the leaderboards, is like around a 145, so still a lot of time to be gained and to be had. I think here, staying way too tight to the inside, I could have carried a lot more speed and kind of carried the car through the whole track. Here, I feel really comfortable with this corner, but it's tricky because you have a dip in the track, and then again, just not carrying enough speed through the corner. And we can see a BMW in the distance there, so luckily we catch up to him like at the perfect time, staying tight to the left, and then we're gonna swing it to the right. I think here just carrying more speed is really what I need to be doing. Hit the apex on the inside and the outside, but we run wide on the grass, which isn't gonna do us any good. We pass a slower class car on the inside, go back to the normal racing line, and then we're gonna see what we can do in the last corner here. We stay decently tight, but then again we just wash out wide. A lot of bumps and going really wide. We have to get off the gas and get back on it. So that was my fastest lap, but definitely not nowhere near the limit, nowhere near kind of my limit at least. So it's weird because I feel like sometimes going through these corners I'm at the car's limit, but that doesn't mean that you're at your limit, because for instance, if you change your line, the limit will be slightly different compared to if you're taking more of an aggressive line through a corner. And you can see here just going wide, and that will really upset the car and is not ideal on what you want. I think we have a few more laps left in this practice session, because I watched this previously, and I think we ended maybe a couple laps after this. So we're gonna keep this going. We go deep into the corner once more. Just not ideal. Let me know what you guys think of this car, if you've driven it before. What do you think of the sound? What do you think of the handling of it? Do you prefer LMPs or GT3s? I know GT3s are more popular just because, you know, they're based on real life supercars, which is pretty awesome. LMPs is kind of its own thing, which is cool. It's almost like a F1 car with a body on it, and being obviously heavier and not as agile as an F1 car. At least the LMP2s. The LMP1s, I think, are up there with being quick as an F1 car, but just the agility and the lightness isn't there. But it's still an awesome car to drive. As we pass the GT3 car in this complex of corners, again, running wide on that grass is not ideal. The track itself looks really gorgeous, and you can kind of tell how it is kind of in the US. Very, very flat, no mountains or anything like that. It's in Florida, actually. I'm pretty sure it's in Florida. I could be wrong, though. And very flat track. It looks really cool. And unless you kind of know a track map, it's very hard to tell where you're going. And we're going to pass this Ferrari on the inside here. And this might be my last lap that I did, because I know I did make a mistake going into the last corner here. And I did another practice session after this with the setup, and I made plenty more mistakes, so it's definitely not easy. We're going to stay really tight to the inside there just to avoid any sort of contact. Just kind of get through it cleanly. It's always kind of like a hit or miss on how aggressive you want to be when you pass these GT3 cars. I think it's definitely easier to get past than to do the pass itself, because you know, when I see an LMP car and I'm in GT3, depends where I am. If I'm on the straight, he'll pass me. If you're in a corner, you know, it all depends on the situation. But when you're in an LMP, you're the one who kind of has to make that move to get past. So it's really tricky, and you'll see here when we make this move. I think this guy, I just stayed behind him just for a little bit because, or I might have passed him here. I think I passed him around the outside here. So he moves to the inside, so he obviously wants me to go around the outside, so that's what I'm going to do. Purposely go deep into the corner to leave that room, and then we're going to get on the gas. Let's switch up the camera a little bit here. Had that nose camera for quite a while, and you can see the interior of this car is very tight. It is a super small cockpit, kind of like a spaceship almost, you could call it. And there we can see the livery again. Again, this right-left complex. The car looks great. Definitely looks like we're going fast, but we're still off the pace by quite a lot. And let's see if this is kind of when I had that that incident, kind of when I ended this practice for this video. So we'll see here what happens here. Might be the lap after this. No, it was on this lap here. So just carrying way too much speed into the corner. We almost go into the wall there. And then from here we jump into the pits. kind of just take a little break for now, and that is going to be it. That is going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like down below, and we almost run over our pit crew there, which wouldn't be ideal. But like I said, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Check out coaching in the description. That was me practicing at Sebring for the first time. Hopefully I'll be competitive soon if I'm putting in more practice and things like that. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.
So